Football squared off against a top RMAC rival in what happened to be one of the games of the year. We have your highlights.
Plus, find out if men's soccer was able to stay undefeated in conference play.
All that and more coming up on Maverick Postgame.
It was one of those classic weekends in college football. Tennessee's Hail Mary prayers were answered. Clemson took down Louisville in a game that came down to the wire, and even our very own CMU football team had their game to remember this past Saturday.
They say to be the man, you have to beat the man. In the RMAC conference, CSU-Pueblo has been the team to beat the past 2 years. And in order for the undefeated Mavs to control their own destiny in the conference, they had to finally best the Thunderwolves. Let's take you to Walker Field for the highlights of a thrilling game. What a fantastic affair we had this past Saturday. If you take a look at the highlights, Colorado Mesa football has not beaten CSU-Pueblo since 2009, looking to right the ship this past weekend. Here comes Sean Rubicaba, though not the best start as he is picked off by Ryan Merrill. They're deep in Maverick territory. Not the greatest start for the Mavs right there. Not at all.
Yeah, and CSU Pueblo would then take advantage of that interception, and they would be the first ones to strike as freshman kicker Nathan Taylor would be able to take this one. It gets partially blocked, though, by the Mavericks, but is able to hit the upright and go through for the first 3 points of the game.
Yeah, Rubicaba and the Mavs look to answer. He scrambles out of the pocket, looks around, scrambles twice. Impressive moves, but it goes in vain as an interception by Joseph Jones.
Yeah, next, Bernard McDonald is able to rush this one from 11 yards out, diving into the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. That would take the score to 13-3 at the half, as McDonald would be a workhorse in this one, pretty much the lone offensive force for the Thunderwolves.
Yeah, and here's McDonald again. He is starting at his own 20, then he gets to the 30, 40, gets into Mesa territory, finds some blocks, gets to the 20 of the Mesas, and also into goal line territory there, 16-3. They would kick a field goal with the Thunderwolves to add to their lead.
Yeah, the Maverick offense was struggling up to this point, but the Mavs were able to get into field goal range here once again, and as has been usual for this season, Ryan Sheehan kicks his second field goal of the game, this one to make it 16-6.
Yeah, and here's a big turning point of the game, though, as Nathan Taylor was a freshman kicker, and here comes a big attempt from 41 yards out. It is wide. That would be no good. That allows the Mavericks to have a chance to answer. It's only 16-6, and it's still early in the fourth.
Yeah, and so the Mavericks did just that, getting all the way down to the 1 yard line when David Tan is able to push it across the goal line, and that makes it 16-13. Now, it did look like David Tan fumbled at one point, but the refs agreed that David Tan had crossed the goal line before the fumble came out, so that did give the Mavericks the touchdown and their first on the day.
Yeah, the Mavericks needed a big stop then on defense. Would they get it? Well, that would not happen as Daniel Wise one-handed grab, because making a catch with two hands is for children. Another field goal makes it 19-13 there with a beautiful lead now for CSU Pueblo. Still time on the clock, though, for CMU to answer with a touchdown.
Yeah, and the Mavericks, led by Sean Rubicaba, who in the fourth quarter was able to try and take over this game for CMU. He's going to find Peter Anderson, freshman, cutting right across the middle here, and he's going to get a big gain on this one, getting all the way into CSU Pueblo territory, all the way down to the 43-yard line.
Yeah, Mavericks needed to keep that momentum going. Here's Rubicaba again, looks, throws, and gets it deep into the red zone. That allows for a big chance for CMU late in this game.
Yeah, and Rubicaba and David Tan once again finds the back of the end zone for his second touchdown of the day, and that gives the Mavericks their first lead of the game, 20-19. As you can see, David Tan catching it over his back shoulder, getting that foot down in the end zone. Big play for the Mavs.
Mavericks need a stop now. They absolutely need a stop. And then it's Dustin Rivas. Who else would get the stop there as a big interception? Mavericks thought they won the game. It is the best defensive player the Mavericks have, and he comes up big once again.
Now the Mavericks, though, might celebrate a little too early as a special teams blunder here gets the block punt for Pueblo, and that gives them perfect field position to come away with the upset against the Mavericks as they take over in CMU territory right around the 40-yard line, just under 2 minutes to go.
They get it to the 1, and now let's listen into the call of Mesa.
No, he didn't get in.
He didn't get in.
And they're not going to give it to him.
He's short. He is short. The clock's still running. And the clock is down to 0. The CMU Mavericks
and the
win
Mavericks
it.
are going to win this game.
Oh, my
What
heavens.
an ending, Tyler.
Oh,
my goodness.
CMU is on the field.
Tyler, what did we just witness, Tyler?
I have no earthly idea.
Yeah, now you get another up-close look at that goal line stand by the Maverick defense. They were not going to let the Thunderwolves come away with another win on their home turf in this one, as they knew the QB sneak was coming. And so the Mavs celebrate their win as they beat the Thunderwolves for the first time since 2009. And now we're going to go ahead and take you to the box score in this one. 2019 would be the final score, as the Mavericks remain the only unbeaten team in the RMAC, currently sitting at 5-0. Rubicaba finished the game with 287 yards passing and 1 touchdown to go along with his 2 interceptions on the day. David Tan chipped in 38 yards and a touchdown on the ground while also catching that game winner for the Mavs. And as for the Thunderwolves, running back Bernard McDonald finished the game with 196 yards rushing on 30 carries and a touchdown to lead their offense. Now, following the game, we were able to catch up with head coach Russ Martin and Rubicaba to get their thoughts on their come-behind victory.
It's a great win. It was, we had to battle tooth and nail, and we had to fight for every second. And even down the end, you know, when we had, there was the inadvertent whistle, the stopping of the clock, and I mean, it gave them another chance. And you talk about putting our defense with their back to the wall. Absolutely. They had basically about a foot to go, and our guys just stuffed them. I'm so proud of them for coming off and finishing the thing as they did on that play there. It was truly unbelievable. And but also the whole way, we dug ourselves some major hole in the first half with some penalties, and it was honestly, there were some stupid penalties and plays that hurt, and it kept them alive. And they took advantage of that situation and put us in a hole. And then even the second half, though we felt we could win, our guys kept battling, and offensively, you know, that last drive to score a touchdown, guys stayed focused, they locked in, we took care of business, 1 play at a time. Great catch by David down there to finish. And I can't tell you how proud of these guys I am. You know, it's a huge win for the program. It's been, I don't know, it's been a lot of years since the program has beat CSU-Pueblo. They are the 5-time defending conference champions. We told our guys today, if you want to be a champion, you got to play like a champion. And I think our guys played like champions today. We can still be even so much better, and that's kind of the scary thing. I promise you, we will get better. But our guys, it comes down to competing, and you compete with heart, and you finish. And these guys finished. Sean probably struggled more than he struggled in the first part of the game, but I'm going to tell you what, the tougher the game gets, the tougher he becomes, and he was nails in that second half and in the fourth quarter. I'm just telling you, he wasn't going to be denied, and I love him. He's just a great competitor. He is a winner, and that's the guys believe in him, and that's what happened. That's why this football team kept believing we were going to win, and we did.
It was just a good comeback win, good team victory. You know, I think we made a few mistakes in the second half, you know, especially with that block punt, and in the first half, you know, a couple of those turnovers, which, you know, we were just playing out of what we do. And, you know, that second half we just settled in, and, you know, I think we started getting some confidence. And going into the second half, you know, coach has told us that we just need to work the game plan and not try and do too much. And, you know, in games like this with guys, you know, they try and do too much, and that second half we really settled in, and, you know, I think we got to what we were trying to do. This season, you know, we have so much to play for, and, you know, I think, you know, the last couple of weeks we've won, you know, pretty close games, and, you know, I think those conditioned us for this week.
Goal line stand as time ran out for the Mavs, and they are the only team that is undefeated in the RMAC and control their own destiny in the conference after taking down CSU Pueblo and Colorado School of Mines in very close games. Their next opponent, though, is only a game behind them in the conference standings. With more information on that, we have a report by Delaney Letts.
Colorado Mesa Mavericks have had a very successful season, remaining undefeated with a record of 5-0. This week, they will take on Black Hills State University on Saturday in South Dakota. Black Hills Yellow Jackets are 4-1 so far this season, gaining a loss against the South Dakota School of Mines, who the Mavericks will play November 5th. The Yellow Jackets look like they might put up some tough competition for the Mavericks. Last year, the Mavericks had an overwhelming victory against Black Hills State, winning 48-7. However, it's a whole new year, and that could change. Still, CMU fans are hopeful that the team can continue our winning ways. For CMU to reach a 6-0 record, they have to look out for these Yellow Jackets players. Ryan Hommel, sophomore quarterback, has had a total of 7 touchdowns, leading the team. Also, keep an eye out for defensive back J.J. Kilgore, running back Friedel Paris, and wide receiver Eric Hairstone-Bletch, some more of Black Hills' top players. Their team has averaged a total of 29.2 points per game and 455.2 yards per game. They have accumulated 7 passing touchdowns and 11 rushing touchdowns. The Yellow Jackets' records may be intimidating, but the Mavs have overcome tougher competition already this season. I am confident that the hours of hard work spent in practice and the adrenaline that comes with the title, undefeated, will show through this weekend and lead our talented players to yet another victory. With an average of 35.2 points per game and both 9 passing and 9 rushing touchdowns, the Mavericks are capable of beating the Yellow Jackets. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Delaney. Now, football wasn't the only team coming into the weekend on a hot streak. Led by striker Roy Abergale, the men's soccer team was riding a 3-game win streak behind Abergale's 10 goals. Now, their first match of the weekend came up against the Fort Lewis Skyhawks, and the Skyhawks and the Mavs contested each other from the opening kickoff, not allowing one team to get the edge. Now, the lone game of the match came in the 81st minute, and can you guess who the culprit was? That's right, Abergale once again. Thanks to a cross from Moshi Perez, Abergale was able to score his 11th goal of the season and give the Mavericks the 1-0 victory. CMU was able to outshoot the Skyhawks 16-14, but they were more accurate in their shots as well, outscoring them 7-3 in shots on goal.
Now on Sunday, the Mavericks returned home to Walker Field, where Abergale again took the spotlight against Adams State. The Grizzlies held the Mavs scoreless for the first half, but it didn't take long for the Israeli striker to make a difference in the second 45. Less than a minute after play resumed, Abergale struck a ball into the corner of the net to take a 1-0 lead. That would be the score until the final 90th minute, where he would score again after a Malik Manana pass across the box. CMU would win 2-0 to remain undefeated in the conference play. They will be back in action at home on Friday against conference favorites Colorado School of Mines in arguably the biggest game so far in the season.
Now, volleyball was 9-3 heading into the 2 road matchups this weekend against Fort Lewis once again and Adams State. After the team lost its first conference game of the season last weekend, the team was hoping to not make it a habit of going 1-1 on road trips. And they did just that by winning both of their games and only losing 1 set during their road trip. Against the Skyhawks, the Mavs were able to win 3 straight sets, with Ali Svornik led the way with 43 assists, and Mackenzie Edwards had 13 kills to lead all players. Then came the Grizzlies, and after the Mavericks won the first set 25-18, Adams State came back and won the second set 25-21 to even the matchup at 1 apiece. Now CMU was able to, take the game from there, winning the next 2 sets in a row to take the match in 4. Now, once again, Svornik led the way with 58 assists, but it was this time led by freshman Allison Smith, who had the most kills with 19. CMU now comes home for their first homestand of the season, where they will play 4 RMAC opponents over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Last week, track and field announced a star-studded recruitment class. A total of 9 males will join the team, highlighted by a trio of decathletes. D'Angelo Foster spent 3 years at Mesa Community College, where he finished 3rd in the heptathlon and decathlon in the Junior College National Championships. Ethan Bessier was a standout in pole vault and discus at his high school in Georgia, and Nick Polos transferred from Modesto Junior College. The same school head track and field coach Brian Beeman attended. They will now look ahead to start the season off early in September.
Now, women's club rugby was also on display here at CMU this past weekend, and this one was up against the University of Wyoming, and boy, did the Mavs run away with this one. The final will become 118-0 for the Mavs, as the team has now won 6 in a row, including a forfeit from UCCS on Sunday. Now, 6-0 is their season record right now, and the team will play their final 2 regular season games on the road against UNC and a rematch against the University of Wyoming.
As it's customary here it's time for our Maverick of the Week. And this week we are going to give it to the man who had the lone 2 touchdowns for the Mavericks this weekend, including that big game winner. It's none other than running back David Tan.
That's right. Tan led the team in rushing yards with 38 on the day, and he had the 1-yard touchdown run, as you saw earlier in the show. And Tan also caught that 11-yard touchdown pass in the corner to seal the win for the Mavs. And the Mavs remain perfect on the season once again, and that is why he is our Maverick Player of the Week.
All right, congratulations to the Maverick football team and all the other teams who did well this past weekend. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Maverick Postgame. Catch us next week for all the latest news and scores in the world of CMU sports. With Bryce Reedy, I'm Joe Azar. Enjoy the rest of your week, Mavs.